everybody. We're here in Tampa, Florida at the Villaggio Cinema. We all just saw Venom. What's up, guys? We just got out. We're going to react real time. This is real reviews with real people, and I can't get more real because I brought my mom this time, and she hates these types of movies, so I can't wait to hear what she thinks. Lindell's here as always, and we got Steven who hated it, and so much more reactions, so stay tuned. Before we get to our panel, let's cut to what the audience thought.
The movie was awesome.
I thought it was awesome. It followed, like, I was worried about it being PG-13, but they did a good job.
It was the best rom-com of the decade, at least.
I just saw Venom, and I thought it was a good movie overall. A little slow at the beginning, but once the symbiote connected with Eddie, it was good, fast action.
I think it was great. I love Spider-Man and Venom. I just feel like there could have been a lot more destruction from Venom in the movie, but it was pretty good.
So Sony's Venom is a movie with great deal of potential. However, they made the crucial mistake of trying to make us like the character. All in all, Ed Hardy does the best he can with garbage, raising it just above the tier of hot garbage, which is better than most Sony movies in the first place.
I thought it was pretty good. It was funny, very funny, although I don't know if that's the thing they were trying to go for.
I really enjoyed the movie. I found it quite entertaining for an action movie and a Marvel movie, so they've got a good recipe. So I know a lot of people are looking for the characters to be more canon, and for not really knowing the characters, I enjoyed it, so had a good time.
I'm a huge Tom Hardy fan. I'm a huge Venom fan. This was perfection. It made up for Spider-Man 3 in so many ways. I can't wait to see it again.
They did a decent job of making you feel some care about the main characters, but by and large, a piece of garbage film, all things considered. Topher Grace did just as good of a job.
Wow. All right. So this one's pretty mixed, but surprisingly from this audience, more positive than negative, but some frustrations. I want to get to my mom, but Lynn, I want to get your thoughts. What did you think?
I really want to say hated it immediately, but it was okay. I think that Tom Hardy was absolutely magnificent as he usually is, and he did the best with what he did the best he could with what he had. So it was Sony. It was Sony writers, and it was Sony editing, to be completely honest. Otherwise, there were some really neat sequences, and there were a couple of laughs, but they could have done so much more with what they were given and the budget that they had than they did.
Steven, you showed your cards. You didn't like it that much, but you said it had promise. Is that a safe way? Can you mic them for me? Is that a safe way to sum it up?
I mean, just like she said, there's a lot of opportunities that they had where things could have turned out really, really well. Unfortunately, like I said in the interview we had earlier, they just didn't build a good character with Eddie Brock. Like, they had this slow build at the beginning where we're supposed to care about Eddie Brock, and they made him just this bland, boring, pseudo-good guy who's just he's no personality. There's nothing to him. Where in the comics, he is just a horrible human being, and we love seeing that horrible human being get stuck with the Venom symbiote, and his life just keep tumbling down.
Well, I love all this. You guys clearly are fans of the comic books. I know someone who's not. This is my mom. Hey, Mom. Hi. So I'm curious because most of the nerds here, including myself, we get so hung up on who Eddie Brock should be and what is Venom. Did you have any idea what Venom was or what Venom is?
No, I figured out after about halfway through the movie this really was a comic book.
Yes. I'm just so curious. What did you think? You don't watch these movies, right?
No, I never read comic books either.
What was your review of this movie? You were as real as it gets. Be honest.
Well, maybe I had a pretty low expectation because I really don't care for these movies, but I have to say I was pretty entertained. The first part of it was really boring, but after it got into the monster and the running around and some of the crazy, silly dialogue with it, I thought it was pretty clever, and I thought it was funny. I think a lot of people will like it.
Yeah, I got to side with my mom on this one. I think the biggest pratfall for the movie was the first hour. It took so long to get going.
It really
but
did.
I'll be honest, I'm not a huge Venom fan. I like Spider-Man, but I don't read the comics as much. And I thought it was this weird sort of like, it felt like a Jim Carrey movie, but in a Marvel way. Like, it was just sort of like, it's like The Mask where Stanley Ipkiss keeps getting punt, and then suddenly you know he's going to hit all those same beats. But they did it with this sort of Jekyll and Hyde.
The comedy element a little bit harder because
the comedy was there though. I thought the comedy was there.
A couple times, but like they didn't commit to one genre or the other. They just kind of kept it. It's going to be some kind of nebulous superhero thing.
You know what it really felt like?
Genre? I don't know.
It felt like they were trying to do Suicide Squad without realizing that Suicide Squad was terrible. They were trying to do this dark comedy type deal where
They
were trying to do this dark comedy sort of type deal where like we have to keep it grim dark because it's that sort of a universe. And there's little bits of humor along the way, but the humor never really stuck too strongly.
Yeah, I think this is gonna have the problem is the world building of Sony. But here's where I don't know. I'm siding with my mom. I was bored in the first hour, but then once they sort of combined, I thought it was kind of fun to watch Tom Hardy deal with it. It may not be the right way the comics were, but as a movie and an anti-hero, I didn't even miss Spider-Man. Now, what I'm like, I kind of want to see him go up against Spider-Man now. Like, I thought this was an interesting build-up to try this new sort of more comedic, fun action thing. I thought the car chase was pretty exciting. That when
The
that
car
scene
chase was-
happened,
yeah, the
like,
car chase was a
I
lot of
because I
fun.
was waiting, and then don't get me wrong, there were definitely some very slow beats, and then it becomes very formulaic. I was curious, because I like these movies, I watch a lot. I had no idea who was fighting who or what was happening at the final act. Could you follow that?
No, but I liked some of the fight scenes. There was an artistic quality to the fight scenes that I haven't normally seen, and admittedly, I'm looking at them while I'm in the kitchen doing something else half the time. But I mean, it was kind of cool how they put the heads in and they moved the character around the monster. He kind of kept morphing into all those shapes and stuff. I thought it was kind of clever and very artistic at times. I thought it was a cut way above what I expected. And it was funny. It was humorous.
Yeah, I mean, I think we get desensitized to these movies. We've seen so many of these comic book movies, and it started. But I tried to have an open mind, and I thought the action was fun. I thought it was fun to watch Tom Hardy do this. I agree, though, it should have been R rating. Do we all agree on that?
Oh gosh, that's
absolutely.
Yeah, that's all I wanted. I just wanted the R rating. I just wanted a little bit more of an oomph in absolutely any direction. Although I will hand it to whoever did the effects. Really stellar effects on all of the symbiote stuff. Really looked nice.
The goos looked really. There was some really nice goo in this movie. If you're a fan of goo, check this movie out.
I've seen combinations of chemicals that can do that like weird growing and pulsating kind of like action before, and I almost feel like some of it may have been practical, and I really hope that it was, but I don't even know. I couldn't tell, which means that was probably some pretty damn good effects.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's I don't want to get into spoiler territory, but there is an interesting cameos and some stuff that happens near the end. You want to stay through the credits, and so interesting to see. They clearly have. They're betting all in on this and hoping they can do more. So
who they chose was very interesting.
Yes,
the hair choice is also.
But I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued just by the casting. So I'm like, all right, let's see what happens. And I don't know. I just thought it was funnier than I thought, and I thought Tom Hardy surprisingly did sell me. But I agree. If they had just embraced sort of the vibe of Deadpool and gone super violent and sort of gone more comedic and more sort of.
Except, I mean, like Eddie Brock should have been more unlikable, like you said. But just if they did more comedy beats, more things that would make you like him, despite the fact that he's a scumbag, that would be fabulous. That would have made all the difference.
Yeah, I mean, he does a pretty scumbaggy thing right off the bat. Like, they do sort of go there.
He always really means well, and he's never really like, oh, that's just an asshole. He always just seemed kind of justified in any scumbaggy thing that he did.
Even the most scumbaggy thing he did was because this man was a criminal and a monster, and he wanted to expose him. There's just blowback on it. So he's just a good guy underdog instead of being this horrible human being again.
Did you like him? Was he a likable character?
I thought he was good, but I don't see making him super macho. I think part of the fun of him was that he was sort of a bumbler, and that's what made it easier to use the comedy. If he was like this really super, slick powerhouse, hero guy, I think you couldn't put those two together very well, and I think that's what made it funny. I don't know about.
Do you know who Tom Hardy is?
No.
All right, good. Yeah. But did you think he was a good actor?
I thought it got off slow though, but I thought that part of his character made it possible to make it funny, and it was by the middle of the show. I mean, I think they established that this guy's kind of funny.
Well, see, guys, take your mom. They'll actually like it. This is how exciting. I thought overall, begrudgingly, yes, there were problems with the movie. Yes, it's a slow act. Yes, it should have been more violent. But weirdly enough, I had more fun than I thought. Lynn, final thoughts?
Sony, come on. Just go to a college, something, a writing school.
Do we know how involved Marvel was?
Somebody else to write.
Do we know how involved Marvel was? Like,
I have no idea.
Was Kevin Feige on there? I didn't even pay attention.
Yeah, I didn't. We're supposed to stay for the credits. We don't actually have to read them.
I do feel like
just blank out.
I do feel like if Marvel had been more involved, they probably would have toned down some of the grim and dark and got it more focused in sort of the homecoming vibe, which I feel like this could have worked in.
They kind of walked
like
down
an
the
R-rated
DC
homecoming.
route. Yeah.
I could see him fitting. So it's like
Well, they walked down the DC route of keeping it PG-13 while still making it really grim, dark, and blue. There's blue filter on everything, and it's so boring to look
Can I
at
have
for a
b-
good
a
section.
bigger nitpick for me was why doesn't that lab have a single camera? That have solved like a million problems of like.
Why did they need to take people out in the forest in order to kill them when they
Exactly.
clearly showed them
There's
killing
a lot
them
of
in the thing?
there's a lot of frustrating beats, but
yeah, so many
you gotta
spoilers,
just
I
check
could
your
be doing
brain
right
on
now.
this one.
We're gonna test this thing on you. Let me give you a 20-minute speech about the fallities of humankind and biblical proportions.
I wish
I
they
was-
just amped it
I
up
was
and
saying-
owned that, and like I
was
wouldn't
saying,
have
like,
minded as
on
much.
the 50th one, he wasn't saying that spiel anymore. He was just like, all right, let's do the thing. And the person goes, no, wait.
Steven, final word.
Tom Hardy really was the saving grace of this movie, although saving grace is still a long shot for it. Him and the symbiote were really great together. It's a good buddy comedy thing they got going for them, but everything else was just awful.
I like how
I
dramatic
gotta
your
cut.
speech
I don't
is.
know why Sam started the movie. Sam, we're rolling.
The problem was just everything else in the world was just awful.
I think you're being harsh. I didn't hate it that much. So I'm going to give my the final word to my mom. Mom, I love you. Thanks for coming and watching a dumb movie with me. What's your final thing?
Sawyer will love it.
When he's old enough. Why don't you plug your Gourd art?
Plug my Gourd art, yeah.
My mom makes amazing gourds, guys. Go check it out. What's the website? GourdArtSouthwest.com, right?
Right, yeah, it's a gourd. Yep. Beautiful masks and cool stuff. Yeah. Check it out.
She just got you to take your parents to go see Venom if they were on the edge, think it's too violent. Say, no, this guy's mom loved it. Come with me. And check out her link. And check out nerdbrew.com for all their events that we do here. And so much thank you, Lynn, as always. Thank you, Steven, for coming by and being so harsh. And thanks to everybody here for watching with us. We will see you next week with another review. Thanks so much for watching. And please check out our Patreon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.